Hey there, do you ever wonder what to look for in a good tool? Hey there, Daniel Hartman, Community Machinery, Sackville, New Brunswick, and I have about 11 of my favorite tools when I just quickly went through the toolbox to share. Anyhow, to start off, where do we start off? This is one that I used to use a lot. As far as this is what commonly gets referred to as a Bessie clamp. This one is actually made by Stable, it's made in Germany. This one here is actually a Bessie clamp brand. And the thing I really love about these, and some of the new versions now have a drilled and tapped hole in there, you can put a foot. But this one here, where the end was worn off, I put a button head screw so that can come out. And then this piece here will come off and it can be flipped around in order to jack things apart as well as clamp things together. But this, especially with having a forklift, if you ever have to move anything, these things have enough clamping power and they have an actual load rating to be able to clamp things on forklifts that stick way out, or if something needs to be squared up, sometimes putting a brace and using this for clamping. This is one of my favorite things, especially when I was doing mobile work. I'd always make sure to take a Bessie clamp with me. So that's one of the #1 things. One of my other favorite tools I'm always going to is this. This one's a crescent adjustable wrench, but it's an older style where you notice the jaws are noticeably wider. Notice that. And these newer wrenches, I don't know why they stopped doing this. This one's really got a nice fit to it as well. And one of the things that it's really handy for is for straightening out sheet metal lips or pieces of steel where you can just clamp down and use it as a bending tool. So that's one thing I like about this, because it's a little bit wider. Sometimes it's just the right thing for the job. This small Bessie clamp, I just recently purchased these, and they're really handy in terms of if you have C clamps, you always have to wind them in and out, and these are nice and quick. And they're also nice because they can fit in little holes and clamp stuff down. So this is a good purchase. I've got 4 of these little ones now. Speaking of clamps, one of my favorite vice grip styles, because this is great for clamping around pipe or tubing, and it's also great if you just need to clamp a little something for welding. Use these all the time. Now, one thing I do find that I don't like about these with welding, if you get a lot of welding spatter, it's tough to clean out of these jaws. So I just leave my pairs that I have primarily for welding, and some I avoid having in the welding area in order to keep them nice and clean for other jobs. Next, this is unrelated to a lot of that stuff, but these these are, I'm trying to think of what they call, Strip Master. How did I forget that? Because I wanted a pair of these for years. Ideal makes these for some other companies, so if you want to know if they're good, you can see in the die casting it says Ideal, especially if you pull off the handles. I think there's some printing underneath them. The Ideal is one of the only ones that I know that's a high quality stripper, and I know with these I actually had to take them apart once because I didn't know how to, there's a part that got bent a little bit and it wouldn't automatically return. So if you're ever stripping wire and you're doing a lot of this, it'll do solid, it'll do stranded. It's nice because it's just one fluid motion. It holds the wire, it pulls the insulation off. It's really quick if you have any amount of electrical work to do. If you buy them early in your career, they pay for themselves really quick. Next thing, I love this. I've got actually a bunch of these. This is a set. This is by Mac Tools, and it's a 1/2-inch drive on this end and 3/8 on this end. I really love this set because a lot of stuff that use an impact on, using a 1/2-inch drive impact set, the wall is so thick, and these 3/8 drive sockets are such a nice fit that the 1/2-inch, instead of using a adapter up close and then a 3/8 extension where you'd lose a lot of your torque or a lot of your, you're gonna, basically the extension is gonna flex a lot. So these are a great solution. There's actually one that comes in the kit that's super long that I think I used once. This set of 3/8 drive Mac sockets I love. goes from 3/8 to 3/4. Super handy set as far as the larger sizes are deeper than, so it goes from that, and then the larger ones deep like that. And I like how they're neck down on the bottom too. Just nice design. They've worked really well for a lot of years. Other thing I love, these SK wobble extensions. I don't know if anyone makes such an undercut anymore, but you look at the degree of how much that wobbles. And the other thing is if you need to push it on something straight. So a lot of times if I was going to a wrecking yard and getting parts, that would be the extension I would take. And if you got to get down on something, you know, it stays straight because it's still got a little D10 ball on there. And if you need some wobble, it's got that as well. So it's fewer things. I never really liked the universal joints they have for extensions, in terms of sometimes they flip 90 degrees and you're trying to straighten it out. So the wobble or the universal joints, a lot of times put electrical tape on them to keep them from going too far over. And some of them had a spring, but then the spring you can't hold it in a preset angle if you want to get in somewhere by just having this on an angle and sneak it in. Also have some of those SK wobble extensions in longer sizes, which super handy. And then one of my favorite combos is this is the SK Ratchet, and one thing I love about this is you want to get some speed up, you just turn the handle like that. And the other thing I love is, so you got a fastener and it's here, you can move this handle down so your torque is in a straight line, whereas like this, if you're pulling, it's moving the top of the ratchet that away or that away, so it's pulling it off the fastener, where if you want to lower it down like that, that's in a direct line there now, even though it goes up and around. So that's a super cool thing. This ratchet, there's a couple different styles. I like this one with the bar on the back. There's another one that's got a set screw that SK makes, and those things I just had an infinite number of, the screw would always come loose and you had to Loctite them, and even that never worked. So this one here, super good. I know there's other companies that make similar stuff. As far as Mac has one, it's got the head and it's got a U-shaped piece around it so the head can actually swivel. So that could be a cool ratchet as well. This is the one I just always had. It's always worked really well. And the other ones that just had the set screw, I had 2 of those. I got rid of them. They just, every time I went to use them, I never knew if they were going to work or not. This one has never let me down. So super cool. Brass drifts, I have a whole bin of different sizes. I love my brass in terms of pounding stuff out. This one's handy if working on shafts and hubs and stuff. This is nice because it's got some weight for knocking stuff apart. It's really handy. Actually, I've got a small one on the milling machine. Someday I'll get a power drawbar on this thing, but until then, that's usually we take the drawbar out of the tool holder with, out of the spindle. And what else can I say about this thing? Yeah, it's good for beating on with a hammer as well. So another tool that I don't know where I'd be without, especially back in the day when I had a lot of little Honda dirt bikes and stuff like that. Yeah, anyhow, they had a lot of Phillips head screws that were 6mm thread, and those things, the heads would strip out. So having an impact driver, and actually that's the Phillips bit there. You got to get good bits, because basically the whole principle with this, you hit the end of this with a hammer, and you can turn this here for that's tightening and that's loosening. So what happens when you hit that? It's got a spring-loaded. This piece here is spring-loaded, and it's on a ramp. So when you hit it, it turns this, and it shocks those bolts. While since you're hammering it, it's also you're hammering that, and at the same time as it's turning it. So it's just basically you're amplifying the force of a hammer putting it into a screw head to push into the head as well as turn, which is a crazy idea. And when this is the right tool, it's just the only tool that will work. my experience. Anyhow, so that's one of my faves. Another one that's recent, I put off buying, oh look at how dirty the hands are getting already. I put off buying any kind of cordless tools until the past couple of years. Got these 18-volt Bosch. I wasn't big on buying something from China. I looked at Festool. I didn't look at Fine too much or Metabo because no one had them around. And wanted something I could get batteries for easy. So anyhow, best thing ever. It has this 1/2-inch anvil here, so you can switch out from that to 1/2-inch drive. So this thing, when I go somewhere to pull something apart or work on something, this is one of my favorite things ever. As far as I use this a lot of times for working on stuff around the shop instead of getting out the 1/2-inch impact or air ratchet or whatever else. Super handy tool. Last one, pretty basic. Well, actually, last couple. This is snap-on, and this is, I don't know if they call this a rolling head pry bar or something about a foot. Anyhow, it's nice because it's got this alignment punch on the end. This, I find I use this one a lot. It's got a nice feel. And then the other, I use this as far as the other pry bar, tapered on one end, little foot at the other. So stuff like moving these machines around sometimes to square them up. That's the bar I use. And what else can be said? Somewhere around 11 of my favorite go-to tools. And please let me know what you think. Please like and subscribe if you're into it. Comment below about tools you'd like to know more about. I think maybe we'll try doing some that are focused around maybe electrical tools or hydraulic tools or stuff if you're just starting a toolkit on the farm. Who knows? Anyhow, this is one of those things, is keeping trying things and looking forward to your feedback. You can also hit this little bell there as well to get notified with new videos. So since there's going to be so many new videos coming, if you hit that bell, you're going to be like a sweepstake winner. Anyhow, on that note, thanks so much for watching. Catch you later.